The system.
Rich, can you hear me? Because I cannot hear you. I don't know what's going on audio-wise. So I don't know why I cannot hear you.
See? It's the wrestling universe already trying to go ahead and stop me from doing what I do best.
Look at that.
It's insane. It's insane. It's okay. It is what it is. It is what it is. But ladies and gentlemen, as I was saying, welcome to Same Dumb, Stupid, Blind, Plenty Relevant. If you do not know who I am, go to your local library, get this biggest dictionary you can find, preferably Merriam-Webster, and look me up under the word phenomenal. Inside a phenomenal one. If you need any help going ahead and finding somebody who can go ahead and put you in your place, talk smack if you have to talk smack, put out any wrestling rants if he has to put out any wrestling rants, just dial 411. Ladies and gentlemen, the one right next to me, Christopher Morton from Morton's Law. Chris, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing okay. Aside from this broken finger playing basketball last week, life is good. You know, that's what you get for playing defense. Got to show those kids how to play some D. But
oh, you hurt yourself too much, man. How you do this?
I know I went from hernia surgery to a broken finger. I don't know. You know what? I'm convinced God hates me, so I just have to roll with that. I just don't know what I did in a previous life.
Ah, jeez. Nah, that's something. That's something. Well, look, in all honesty, you know, today's going to be a great episode. We have a lot in store for you guys. You guys just don't understand. Like, you guys just don't understand what today is. You know, like, today is pretty much one of those days where we'll sit there and be like, it's going to be a 1 hour show. We're going to try our hardest to do this and do that and see where it goes. Honestly, before we do all of that, I want to go ahead and do this. So look, Chris, if you can indulge me for a second here, let me do something that I felt like doing for a good little minute this week. All right, cool, no problem. Ladies and gentlemen, 77 years ago, the world wasn't ready for one such dynamo, if you may go ahead and, you know, kind of say that in, you know, in that instance. An individual who I can say is definitely an encyclopedia, is definitely a real long talker, because if you can tell in the stances of our shows, it's, you know, we can't go ahead and go overboard sometimes due to the fact that this man can't learn to shut his candy ass up. I'm just playing, man. I'm really just playing. I love you, man. I love you. But in all honesty, as I said, a good amount of years ago, centuries, decades, whatever you may want to go ahead and say, the world gave to us an individual who we adore, who we enjoy having around, an individual who we like to go ahead and put ribs at just because we like to put ribs at him. It's fun making fun of him, right, Chris? I'm just keeping it $150.
Yeah, he's immortal. He'll never die.
He'll never die. Exactly. But definitely today, is that anniversary of 7 years ago. Times of the Jurassics. Even before a calendar, we still had to figure out when his birthday was. But before we go ahead and bring this individual on the show, Chris, is there anything that you'd like to go ahead and say yourself, man?
Well, 22 million years BC, this man was born, and he's still among us. He's the man that booked the parting of the Red Sea, because that was a work. So
that's a good one. That's a good one.
He's been here. He was Moses's emergency contact, okay? Because he's been here that long. Without further ado, happy birthday to the peeps, Nate.
Exactly. So look, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's go ahead and do this right, due to the fact that it is his birthday, so we're not going to go ahead and, not give him the proper entrance. Ladies and gentlemen, my comrade, my co-host, my brother from another mother, century, and dimension, the one, the only, limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun, who is not having a hard time holding his alligators down. So, ladies and gentlemen, on his 1000th birthday, give me 2 claps and a peep snakes.
Woo!
There we
Thank
go.
you. There we go. And of course, thank you guys. And of course, it's not the same without having my birthday cupcake here. So
you can't have your cake and eat it too, you bastard.
Woo! I'm having it today.
Oh well, you can't.
Thank you.
You can't today. Well, look.
Yes.
Wait, I have an idea. How about for his birthday, he actually turns his camera the other way so we can see I don't know why he has to be in a 4x3 or an action chase.
Beeves, is that just how the camera is, or can you actually?
That's just how the camera is.
That's an Android, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No crap. We need to get this man an upgrade. Good grief. But look, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, as we said, happy birthday to the Peak Snakes.
Thank you.
To every single person that is tuning in here, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on Twitter, or whether you are on YouTube. We appreciate your support. We appreciate the love that you guys are currently showing. And look, without further ado, let's do what we do best here on Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. Give you laughs, good times, and all the rest of news possible. So shall we go ahead and begin?
Let's do it.
Okay, then say no more. So look, ladies and gentlemen, of course, when you go ahead and hear this sound, it means one thing and one thing only. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is time for Wrestling Crash Course. So I guess we shall fire it up, right?
Whoa! That was big.
I understand. You probably got PTSD from the asteroid back.
There you go. Almost dropped my cupcake. Woo!
As our subscribers increase, so does the budget, apparently.
Exactly. we haven't gotten to Cody Rhodes pyrotechnics yet, but we're trying. Not on that budget yet.
Yes.
Oh, jeez, wow, Hot Rod. Happy birthday to the man that betrayed Jesus Christ at the Last Supper.
Oh man.
4-1 is Judas. Good grief! Wow, you guys are really coming in with the Jesus. Well, we have another one. Of course, he says all as well. Happy birthday, Nate, and Corey Richmond as well. Happy birthday, Sean. So look.
Yes.
Today's really that one day for peeps where he actually gets idolized, because every other day we crap on him, so it's okay. But look.
Yes.
He doesn't look a day over 1 million.
There you go.
I was gonna say 1 billion, but geez, Chris, you beat me to it.
Yeah, you gotta round it. You gotta round it to the nearest million. There you go.
What year did you invent Just for Men?
I say 1830. There you go.
Yo, did you know that Peeps was the one who knew that Cole was supposed to go into the first iron? Yo, forget Thomas Edison. This man created the light bulb. Like, come on.
There you go.
Give me a break.
I am inevitable.
Are you
There you
timeless?
go.
Are you timeless?
We're just gonna go black and white. There you go.
You should be in black and white today.
I guess he's gonna have to go ahead and sue Tony Storm for that. Then
There you go.
Gimmick. Good grief.
There you go. There you go.
But yo, somebody put Peeps in black and white for me, please.
Oh man.
But look, jokes aside,
There you go.
have fun here on Same. Let's get down to the business of wrestling. First and
Yes.
foremost, here on Wrestling Crash Course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wyatt 6 is here. If you watched Monday Night Raw this past, week, you would know that everybody literally got massacred. Gable got shot in the head, Kennedy style.
Yes.
You had Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, Eric Redbeard, or Eric Rowan, as I shall say, and of course Taylor Rotunda. In the new feud, in the new group faction, the Wyatt 6. Within all of that, Peeps, you being around for a lot of factions within this generation of the world.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about this whole faction, how they were brought in? Because I honestly think the whole production factor was solid, amazing.
Yes.
What were your thoughts, and what do you think is the future for the Wyatt 6?
I thoroughly loved the fact that they didn't go too far into the supernatural, but they gave you just enough to show you that it's on the periphery of what they're trying to incorporate. The production was great. And I guess if you kind of thought about where they placed it in the show, as far as if you know about what Jey Uso has said about his entrance when he went to France and they gave him the lights, and he basically talked about how when I come out, I get the energy of Bray being with me with my entrance. Mm-hmm. So if you put two and two together, you kind of figured if the 17th of June was when this was going to be released and when they were going to do it, that was the perfect time after Jey Uso celebrating with the fans. And the lighting, the smoke, and then everybody coming out, and then the random pan inside, and you're seeing bodies everywhere. Like you said, Chad Gable looked like somebody threw a spear into his skull. It was absolute chaos. And that chaos worked because then it put the entire Raw locker room on notice. And the fan reaction afterwards, one of the people that was there when the show was over, kind of recorded where they were at, what they saw. Standing ovation. You would have sworn you went to Cannes to see a film production. It was that good, and I really like what they're doing with this right now, and it makes me anxious as to what's going to happen on Raw next week.
Oh no, definitely. But do we suspect that there's still going to be a chance that somebody else gets killed, or
I would bet that something else is going to come out of this next week.
Good grief. Well, Chris, what are your thoughts on the Wyatt 6, man?
Well, first of all, I almost just died. I don't know if you could tell by looking at me.
I noticed that.
Yeah, you're hanging in there, man.
I just started choking and it went to a sneezing fit. I'm like, am I dying right now? I think God heard that I said he doesn't like me, so I don't know. I'm going to reinforce that.
He said you're going to learn today.
Yeah.
Yes, my tag team partner is working in unison to get the karma through there.
Yeah. Well, as Nate hit on, I think the biggest part of the whole segment was the crowd. The crowd made it work. The crowd could have been quiet. Nothing could have happened. You heard the oohs and the ahs, and every reaction to anything. Sister Abigail comes out, points to the back. I mean, then you see the carnage as you discussed. It would have been nice to see a couple more main eventers laid out, maybe, other than Chad Gable. I feel like they could have done more with that, but that's nitpicking. Ultimately, the success of the segment was just unmatched. It was that good. And now the spelling, though, was a lot of confusion during the week. It was 6 with an S. Now it's 6 with 6, a numeral 6. And so, yeah, I got to go correct that on my YouTube hit. Because when did they decide? First of all, have they officially called the group that on last night on SmackDown? Did they say the name of the group or they didn't?
So I guess Paul name dropped it, which was kind of weird because it was when he was talking to Punk, he was like, you see, they have all of this extra security here, But that's more for the Wyatts. That's what he literally called them.
Right.
Anything about the Wyatt Six. But if you saw like on their, I guess their merch on WWE Shop.
Okay.
Literally the 6. It's like Wyatt 6, and then of course like with the the 6 instead of the S.
Okay. I think it's spelled SICK 6 at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that's what they're kind of like doing within that sense.
So it's kind of playing off of the number 6, with Bray being the 6th member that's no longer there physically, and then 6 as them all being really sick individuals. So it works.
Let's talk about the cast. I think the cast is perfect. I mean, obviously, Nikki Cross, Gacy, Dexter Lumis, Bo Dallas, and who am I forgetting?
Eric Rowan.
Yes.
So I have to say, the cast is great. The cast is great, and the fact that it's kind of like we sit there and we're like, okay, are they carrying a supernatural element to it? Are they more along the lines of no, we're just gonna wreak havoc every single week until they understand who the hell we are? It's kind of like what are we getting at here? Do you guys think it's gonna be more supernatural, or do you think that this is gonna be more sadistic and planned out to where it's like it's shaping reality, but at the same time it's just them murking the entire roster?
It's sports entertainment on the sense that the faction can't really exist outside of the purview of the sports entertainment realm of pro wrestling, but yet I don't think they're going to go too far into that side of it without it looking cheesy. I think the production went just far enough to the edge without going over the edge, and then reeled it back into that sense of reality as far as all of the people that got injured, hurt, beat up, etc. There was a hint of blood, which we're seeing a little bit more of in their presentation, which works. And also the seriousness of we don't know who's next. That you're going to have to tune into on Monday to find out. And they kind of referenced a lot of that when they did kind of the recap on SmackDown, where who knows what's going to happen? Who knows if they're only going to stay on Raw? They may just go and show up on NXT one day. They may show up on SmackDown one day, just to kind of give you that idea of we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, true.
And they should be everywhere. They need to be omnipresent early on. And when you talk about the supernatural, I mean, there's that fine line we often talked about with Wyatt and his stuff. So they got to be careful with that, but they can have fun with it.
Yes,
well, definitely. I noticed that they hijacked the Pat McAfee show on ESPN the other day.
Yes, I did see that clip.
They did do that. They're hijacking Adam Pearce's Twitter and Instagram, so it's like usually like they'll do the little hits there, here and there. So who knows? Maybe Pat McAfee's the next victim. Maybe Pierce is the next victim. Who knows what's in store? But I mean, honestly, it's such good. I mean, not. But yeah, we're doing the Puppet McMahon.
That's right, pal.
and more importantly, eyeballs. Raw's rating went up next week, unopposed. So who knows what number it looks like?
Exactly. Preempted as well. So look, we'll see what's in store for Raw and the Wyatt Six as well. But in other words, we move to SmackDown real quick, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Forget a Solo, forget a Tamatonga, forget a Tangaloa, forget a Hikaleu, Zilla Fatu, forget a Haku. I don't care about any other Samoan except for this one man right here, Jacob Fatu. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you ever needed to define the word aura, I suggest you go back to SmackDown last night and look at the final moments of the show and tell me that Jacob Fatu isn't a star so I can slap the hell out of you. Guys, all in all, Jacob Fatu's here, now along with the Bloodline. What do you guys think of this whole situation? Do you guys think he's already a bigger star than Solo in a sense? And where do you see this going ahead and leading to? Chris, we start with you.
Well, the thing is, not many people know who he is unless you're one of the diehards. So that's the concern there right off the bat in terms of him taking over. His debut was phenomenal, but now they have to introduce him. The thing I talked about in terms of his presence in our chat earlier is that he looks wild. Talk about the original Wild Samoans. He doesn't look like he's groomed, and he just looks like he's just came out of like the wild. And it's just, and look, ultimately, I think this is perfect for them, for that group. I don't know where the storyline's gonna go, but yeah, I think Jacob Fatu, sky's the limit with that.
Definitely. Peeps, how about yourself?
He looked like an uncaged lion, literally ready to sink his teeth into some raw meat and take everybody out. And it was apparent in the 5 minutes that he was on camera. He took out Kevin Owens with the Samoan drop on the steps. He speared Randy Orton through the railing, and then did a Samoan splash off the top rope through the table on Cody Rhodes, all within 5 minutes. First off, for those that have actually seen him in MLW with his 819-day run as MLW World Champion, he slimmed down some. Yeah. He looks like he's hit the gym. He's not as big as he was when he was in MLW. But even more so, he really looks, as Chris just stated, he looks like he is unhinged. He looks like he's ready to just dominate. And the look when he got in the ring that Solo gave him and then he gave Solo and then he embraced, Solo gave him the hug, but Jacob Fatu didn't kind of hug back. He just kind of looked wild-eyed, like he was ready to go after someone else. That is the presentation that you have to have for somebody that they're bringing in who is now the X factor of this Bloodline story. And the MVP of this entire deal is Paul Heyman, because Heyman's facial expressions, the way he worries, it was orchestrated beautifully on camera.
Can't agree more. I can't agree more. So look, from there, we move back to Raw and kind of SmackDown in the same sense. The Glasgow screw job, or what they're calling it, or I should go ahead and say what my deep voice Dynamo Peeps Nate is calling it, as per his message to me the day after Clash at the Castle. We now have a Scottish psychopath, Drew McIntyre, who is losing his marbles, doing anything that in his will is to target CM Punk, because of the fact that CM Punk costed him the World Heavyweight title at Clash. Goes to Raw, kind of just says 2 or 3 words, then says, screw this company, I quit. Walks out, all within storyline. Leaves. We think, okay, cool, well, what's going to happen after this? Nothing said. He deactivates his social media platforms. Punk comes on SmackDown. Doesn't give us the A-OK on if he's clear or not. Then literally about 45 minutes later, they're literally cutting to a segment with Grayson Waller, Tommaso Ciampa, and Johnny Gargano, of course, collectively known as DIY. And what ends up happening is that the gate opens up. You see a bloody heap CM Punk on the ground while Drew McIntyre is standing over him. Guys, once again, the camera work just within that sense was just great. It was like, you don't need no cinematic factor for that. It's just let it rise up, and you see Drew there, and you're like, what the heck? Great stuff. But back to it. Drew just literally ends Punk. Just ends him. Bloody mess. And then he takes a bracelet off of Punk's, wrist. And they're saying that the bracelet literally has AJ and Larry's name on it. So now business just picked up and it's personal. What do we see up until SummerSlam? Do you guys think that Punk is cleared? And does this feud need to end in a Hell in a Cell? Peeps, we start with you.
Wow. To end in a Hell in a Cell. It could end in a Hell in a Cell, since they don't use Hell in a Cell matches anywhere near as often as they used to, which is good because it keeps the attention up for when you finally do have one. But even more so, the first time that they face each other, I don't even think it's going to be a match. I don't think it's going to be something where they're going to have 5-10 minutes or whatever is the case. I can see their first match happening on one of their premium live events. Maybe it happens at SummerSlam, where they headline it, but it's so personal and so violent that it literally is like 5-10 10 minutes, and then it ends in like a DQ or something like that, just because of the hatred and how personal it's supposed to be, which would then lead on to a build toward an eventual Hell in a Cell kind of match. But this animosity has been growing for months.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it could be years if you go back to the thought process that they've brought in as far as Punk left, McIntyre doesn't like him, Seth doesn't like him, because we know that's eventually going to happen on the horizon. So that works. As this is before the camera work was perfect, because before I saw the blood on Punk's face, I saw the blood on Drew's hands. And that is what I think the message is going to be. CM Punk, your blood is on my hands now. And I'm going to make sure that it stays that way. And he's continuing to make it personal. And in Chicago, no less. Perfect.
Oh, of course, definitely. It's one of those things where I sit there and I'm kind of noticing. And as you said, just the blood within itself. That already gives me the key that what we talked about last week within Bad Blood coming back.
Yes.
I can see it now. It's literally fruition. And I guess, like, you know, with them saying that it's going to be, what, the 30th anniversary, you know, since, like, that cell match, I think, with, like, you know, Sean, or, like, maybe close to it, I guess.
Yes.
They're going to want to go ahead and, like, you know, like, show at least that there's going to be one Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood. And this is the feud that needs it. So
yes.
That's honestly what I think from there. Chris, what are your thoughts within this whole matter?
Well, for starters, I had read online earlier this week, don't know how true it is, that Punk said he would not do a Hell in a Cell because he wants to beat him up with his fist. He doesn't need a cage to do it. So that's what I had read. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if they can talk him into doing it or if it's just something he said to say it.
It was funny because I remember I heard, I guess it was at the Clash post show, someone had asked Punk, "Oh, well, you want to go ahead and do a Hell in a Cell match?" And he just literally said it, you know, not knowing if it's, you know, keeping kayfabe or not. He was like, "Oh, thank God you're not booking the show."
Yeah.
A Hell in a Cell match as my first match with Drew McIntyre. Yeah, you're out of your damn mind.
Right, that's even a better point. You got to build to that if you're gonna do it.
So definitely, I would say that, like, you know, if you're gonna go ahead and do it, I'd say maybe they do get their first match at SummerSlam, you know, and if that's gonna be like, you know, one of those matches where let's say First Blood. Imagine if it's like a First Blood match, and it's just like, okay, cool, let's do that, or like maybe I would say maybe a 3 stages of hell. Who knows?
Falls count anywhere, something along those lines.
Anywhere, like like, you know, something within that standard. But honestly, I say that Hell in a Cell, you leave that for Bad Blood. You definitely leave that for Bad Blood. The writing on the wall for it is literally in front of us, and I would be completely distraught if they weren't going to go ahead and pull the plug and do it at Bad Blood. You know,
and they've done just enough with the social media to make it seem as if it has blurred past kayfabe and in-ring work, and made this personal with the whole deactivation of the Twitter account and everything else is going on. And then going to the bakery and eating the muffins and making fun of Punk. The little Easter eggs that they're leaving within the flow of where this is going is one of the things that makes this whole deal a treat. If you are a wrestling fan that wants to see them get in the ring and fight and wrestle, but also for those that are into story and crafting a reason why you should care about this feud in the first place. And they've done just enough to give you a little bit of that icing on top of that cake. That's all that they've been doing, and it's been really great.
But I think that's where the Punk injury really comes in place, because I feel like if Punk wasn't injured, this story would have been brewing a long time prior to this, because, you know, I guess they were really waiting to let the whole reality of Drew's whole, like, you know, Drew's contract really, like, like wearing out. And then, you know, they were going to say, oh, well, you know, he hasn't re-signed. So I guess, like, the whole point of, like, him saying, oh, screw this company, I quit, was kind of, like, odd, because it's just like, well, you know, The Rock literally posted how many weeks ago that, you know, you literally re-signed, got you a whole new Claymore, and, you know, you're casually sitting there at dinner with your family enjoying the fact that you just re-signed with the company. And it's like, okay, you quit, but, you know, maybe this was supposed to tie in prior. That's what I possibly get out of that. But, you know, do you think that this could have worked had Punk not been injured months ago, or is it better within this time frame now?
I think What I think is, if CM Punk wasn't injured, I don't think that this would be Drew's fight. I think this would be Seth's fight to some degree. Because if you think about it, this feud kind of transferred over to Drew because of Seth's knee injury. So they kind of had that on the periphery while they kind of figured out what they were going to do with Seth. So true, Seth's knee injury has now taken precedence, and he's going to be off for quite some time as far as his knee until he's announced that he's going to come back within the next month or so. But in general, I think that feud would have gone towards Seth. I don't know if it would have been as personal as what Drew has made it, but I think that's kind of where it would have gone.
Definitely. All right. I see where you're coming from. Chris, you feel the same way?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also, I just wanted to talk about the just Raw in general in terms of how just people that appeared and made the show the boost of the show, and in conjunction with the Glass Cow Screwjob, which we could talk about a little bit more in terms of what happened in that day. I mean, how great was it, by the way, when Punk comes out and he does the screw job, and then they cut to the crowd and he is next to a fan giving him the double fingers, right? And then they cut away, and then the next shot of him, he's with CM Punk fans, because that just didn't look right. It was funny.
Yes.
Because, I mean, look, he got nuclear heat. I mean, what he did to Drew in his home country was perfect. And then the booking of this is even better for Drew to return it in his hometown. And, I mean, look, whoever's writing this, if they're writing it together and Triple H has a hand on it, I mean, it's amazing, and it's must-see TV.
And even more so, it's logical. That's the main important part of this. Everything in this makes logical, progressionary sense. Yes. That's what we want to see.
Oh no, definitely. Well, look, that's the world of professional wrestling, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
And that is the end of the first half of Saturday afternoon's main event. When we come back, we're gonna go ahead and have our questions, and of course, the final topic for today's show. So stay tuned. Do not go anywhere, because the second half of Saturday afternoon's main event is coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the second half of Saturday afternoon's main event. To my right, of course, the one and only Christopher Morton. Right at the bottom right there is the deep voice dynamo to Peep Snake. We're here to give you laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. Look, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we're now at the part where we have our questions. You guys know that we enjoy these things. You guys know that we love going ahead and speaking out on them. But it seems like most of them are for Peeps today, which is not a shocker, of course. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you know that if you want to go ahead and be a part of SAME, all you got to do is one thing and one thing only. DM us on Instagram at Saturday afternoons_main event, or on Twitter if you have Twitter at Saturday Main. Send in a question, and in the words of the wrestling god, WWE Hall of Famer JBL, I guarantee it will be on the next episode of the show. So look, first comment today comes from Master Sean 007. He says, greetings, gentlemen. With today being June 22nd, the second day of the summer solstice, the days will start to get shorter until December 21st. But enough of that. One of my sources told me that one of you guys are celebrating a birthday today. If it's true, I would like to send out birthday wishes and much continued success of this show. Well, Peeps, you know, you can answer most of these.
Thank you. Yes, yes. I'm the only one today on the panel whose birthday is, in fact, today. And yeah, I am happy and humbled that I'm able to celebrate another birthday as we see another solstice and another planetary circumference being brought forth towards us. Yeah, I'm happy. I can't complain. And as the Iron Sheik would say, I'm humbled that I have reached another year. So thank you.
Well, in other words, you know, you'd still feel like Sheik if you have to remember that 30 years ago today we lost Game 7. So you have to throw a hot tour.
Yeah, there you go.
I know Chris is just he's just happy because he's like, hey, I want three. I want three more after that, so I can care less about what you guys say.
It was always fun watching the Nick fans suffer back then.
Yeah. It's like pulling fingernails. Yeah.
But hey, it is what it is. But from there, we move to Hot Rod 316. He says, since he finished the chapter in his story, do you find Cody Rhodes boring in his title reign? In addition, the We Want Roman chants are getting louder and louder like Peeps' hairline.
Wow.
Oh, good grief.
We know you'd have to catch a stray in one of these, man.
Yeah.
Because do you rather they announce his return or keep it a secret as a surprise for an upcoming show or PLE? Well, get this. I do understand and do know under the notion that SmackDown is happening on MSG next week, right?
Right.
Yes, Friday. Yeah.
People are saying that he should have a Triple H-esque return at MSG. I say no. I say this is meant for a PLE, and I wouldn't mind if the story was being told at SummerSlam. Because can you imagine the generational cheers and adulation that you're going to hear from the crowd if Roman Reigns were to return, still being the tribal chief, but as a face at the same PLE that he had issued the tribal chief era in. So, I mean, honestly, for me, if you're going to tell that story, I think it has to be done at SummerSlam. This isn't meant for no special SmackDown.
No.
This is literally like PLE-esque.
Yes.
Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I want to jump on the first part of that question. Excuse me. Cody Rhodes, listen, the chase was exciting. He became champ. And I think I'm dying again. Hold on, Nate, take over.
Okay. Let's resuscitate him right now.
Cool,
okay. I'll go. This is what I'll say. If we're going as far as the Cody Rhodes reign is concerned, I don't think we've gotten to the point where it's the way that they treated in AEW the title chase that they did with Adam Page, where the chase was better than the title reign. When he was the hunter, AEW did a great job of portraying him as the guy that's going to go after and go and win that championship. And when he won it, you had that big, he finally did it, he finally did it, he finally did it. And then the 6 months afterwards were not as good at all because they kind of lost steam. Cody hasn't gotten to that part yet because he is still on that high that they've given him when it comes to, you know what? He's there. He's the champ. He's doing all of the things necessary. And more importantly, the face speeches that he gives doesn't sound hokey to the fans, because the fans could turn on him the way the fans used to turn on Hogan. When Hogan would train and say your prayers and eat your vitamins, after a while it has a shelf life. Cody has not given a shelf life to his push as champion yet. So in that extent,
I'm sorry, I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead yet, thank God.
Okay.
I had to jump in as I was listening to you. And
yeah.
The thing with Cody is, yes, I agree with Hot Rod. He's 100% boring. I think the fans are still with him. I don't know for how long. They got to do something interesting with him soon, because his promos, his workshop promos that he had talked about in the past are getting too cute sometimes. And he's riding the wave, but that wave can crash. And I'm a little worried right now. They got to do something fun with him soon.
Do you think that they need to let him do a more organic promo as opposed to some of the stuff that we know that he can go out in there and give you a very good promo that has a lot of markisms in it that would catch the fans that know what he's talking about and make them smirk? But can he do something, you think, maybe a little more organic to kind of help keep that train going?
I think he just needs a hot feud. That's it. He just needs something better. I mean, the AJ stuff was okay, but I need something better from him right now. And I don't know where they're leading. I mean, where do you think they're leading right now with Cody?
I think Solo right now is where they're headed for just right now. I don't know what they're planning on, say, after SummerSlam, who his next feud would be, because there have been so many people that have come in there. AJ, like you said, as far as I'm concerned, was a good first feud. We're not going to get Cody Rock anytime soon. And the Bloodline is still kind of building themselves up, even though Solo is probably the next in line after what we saw. But I think Jacob Fatu is going to be, would you say, the first before Solo, or do you think he's going to go after Solo and then go after Jacob?
Well, at the same time, I think you have to protect people to a degree. You can't beat all these guys right away. So there's a concern too, who you want to beat. And I think that's why they took AJ as a sacrificial lamb to put him over. So yeah, that's a tough. Listen, I wouldn't want to be the booker right now. You have all that talent, you're loaded with people, but then at the same time, you have to protect people. And just on a tangent right now, if I can, a little rant. I'm sick of these three-ways. I didn't like the three-ways in this tournament for the Money in the Bank qualifying. I think it's just overkill. On Raw, you have a 3-hour show. You can give me one-on-one matches. The three-way, it gets busy. I don't like it. It gets really busy, and it's Tony. I hate to say this. People are going to kill me for this, but it's Tony Khan booking. It's too much.
Thanks, guys.
And we're going to have a great show on Rampage, guys. Just go ahead and score it at 10.
We're going to talk about how coked up he must be right now a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely. But look, R316, thank you for the question, man. Next one goes to Long Island Isaiah. He says, happy 1,467th birthday, peeps. As much as you've declined in centuries, you are still our deep voice dynamo. Jokes aside, man, enjoy the day.
Thank you.
1,460.
He's the James Earl Jones of same.
Yes.
You know how crazy that is?
Yes.
Do you know how crazy that is, Chris? No, because the next person, Tombstone City Adam, says, happy birthday, peeps. I never thought I'd enjoy listening to the Jurassic James Earl Jones of wrestling, but hey, I digress.
And ironically, that's the first I digress of the show, and it comes from Tombstone City Adam.
Insane. Just wow.
Oh, good grief.
And I had no idea that was coming up next, by the way. I just said that randomly.
This is just our nature with Peeps Nation, man.
There you go. Hey, you want to know something? I'm gonna mark that in there. There you go. That's the first one of the show.
Would you, Mark?
But he says, question for you guys today, though. Who's your early picks for Money in the Bank?
I think LA Knight has to win. LA Knight has to win.
Chelsea Green. I'll say that.
Yeah, Chelsea and LA Knight.
Yes.
How about that? They both win. Chelsea and LA.
Those are the same picks. That I have, especially how organic Chelsea Green's push has gotten. And anytime you hear Chelsea Green, everybody loses their mind. And I think
Wait, I'm sorry to cut you off. I hate to do this, but when she won that match last night and you heard the 3 count, the crowd erupted like The Rock won the title.
Yes.
Loud pop. People don't realize how loud the pop that was.
Yes, it's organic. And in Chicago, of all places, that's the reason why it works. If you can get over in Chicago with something like that, you know you're over around the rest of the nation.
Oh, no. Taekwon just burned you.
Oh, boy.
Oh, God.
He's not done.
No.
He's got the hairline of a reconstruction.
Wow.
Hold on, no, this one's even better. Peep smoked a blunt with Satchel Paige.
Wow.
Hey, I'm international. I'm worldwide.
Jeez, bro. Good grief. Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
It wouldn't be safe without somebody flaming Peeps for something, man. Oh, man. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that marks the end of our questions for today. Look, if you guys want to go ahead and be a part of more of these, because oh my gosh, they tested all the racial slurs on P.
Oh, Lord.
Yo, are you not going to let up, Taekwon? At least something nice about the man. It's his birthday. Right.
Good grief.
Man. But look, as I said, this marks the end of the questions. We appreciate these. You want to send in more, you want to be a part of the show, all you got to do is DM us on Instagram or on Twitter at Saturday Main or on Instagram at Saturday Afternoons _main event. And it will be featured on the next episode of the show. With that being said, we get to our last part of today's show. And here's what I'm going to go ahead and say to that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just play this. Let me just play the theme. and you'll actually understand where I'm getting at this is. Yeah. For those of you who are currently, on Twitter watching, all 55 of you on Twitter, those on YouTube, those on Twitch that are pretty much listening, and you know what this theme is, and you know what this instrumental is, what this instrumental is, you would know that, Kendrick Lamar is literally killing the music industry, and in a good way. He's getting rid of those so-called colonizers. He did that with this song, which is literally a month old now, called Not Like Us. Here's what I want to get at with this. It's the fact that you have these All Elite Wrestling fans who go on Twitter and then they proceed to say that the reason they did 502,000 as a rating is because people were celebrating Juneteenth and that people were more in tune with watching Kendrick Lamar instead of watching Dynamite.
That's if you don't have the facts, but the phenomenal one will show you the facts right now.
You see, you're on the money with this, Chris. I like you, man. I like you. So look, let's go ahead and open this up. Because for me, I'm a Kendrick Lamar enthusiast when it comes to hip-hop. So let's go ahead and break this down, shall we? Look at this right here. This is the ratings of AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. As you can see, 8 o'clock starting off with 586,000.
The lowest start ever, I believe.
Yes, along with a .16, which is the lowest, P18 through 49 demographic ever, within Dynamite history. Because if anything, Destination America did more on that rating and on that scale, and the College World Series did as well. Because the College World Series did what, .46, and Destination America did like what, .18. So for Dynamite to do .16, that's pretty insane.
What is TNA do?
Good grief. But still, like, back to this in a sense. You go ahead and you notice this. Let me just say something, and I said this in a group chat. Kendrick didn't start performing until 9:30. And as you can see, that's where you can see the dip and decline in the ratings. As you can see, it goes from 523, 498,000, 431,000, and 423,000. So within that span of an hour, it dropped down by 19%. But what about the other hour and a half? Are you going to tell me that surprisingly Kendrick Lamar just, he started the show earlier? Or it's because of the fact that, we lost a huge demographic due to the fact that it was Juneteenth.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but don't forget about the fact that, and Nate can touch on this, that for once the lead into this episode was not the Big Bang Theory, which normally hits a big number. Nate, if you can shed light on that.
Yeah. Usually the Big Bang Theory gets about roughly 800,000 views for an entire episode. And the last quarter hour is usually about maybe 200,000 that leads into AEW Dynamite. Well, that didn't air because of Juneteenth. They aired Black Panther. And Black Panther in its last quarter hour did something like 85,000. So apparently that wasn't enough to sustain their normal lead-in numbers from what they're explaining going into the first quarter hour of AEW Dynamite. So that's what they're going to lead as their assertion as to why that they didn't get the numbers that they were looking for. Mind you, their ratings have declined. I believe it's been 37 or 38 weeks where their ratings have kind of declined.
So, Pete, that's the thing. Because you see, we also have the ratings from last year, June 14th, 2023.
Yes.
Look at that lead-in. Of course, yes, granted, yes, we understand. Yeah, more people watch The Big Bang Theory than, Black Panther on Juneteenth. I get that.
Yeah.
But you still can't go ahead and speak towards this when you have the fact that they were doing close to 1 million last year.
Yes.
So whatever happened to, the wrestling that we were watching? Because if you can see, let's look at this card right now and what it shows, within Nielsen, what was happening within those quarter hours. You had Adam Cole versus MJF. Then the post-match, a CM Punk video.
Right.
Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin live promo, which we know that feud was pretty much, hot at the time. Then of course Chris being in the mix with it. Sting, Sonata. Oh yeah, let's think Keith Lee and Orange Cassidy versus the Mogul Embassy, which was pretty much popping at that point too. Still, towards the end, the Elite versus the Blackpool Combat Club. And then a post-match with Eddie Kingston, Konosuke Takeshita, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, and Bryan Danielson. Because this was also on the lead up to Forbidden Door.
But even that show, like if you see, they lost 19,000 people from start to finish. And also, I think you mentioned, which is not here, they were up against the NHL Finals this night.
Yes.
And
which was supposed to have been over by now, but apparently, as we've seen, Florida forgot.
No, Nate.
Great.
No. You're missing. I'm talking about this show last year was up
against
the Finals. Dynamite this Wednesday was up against nothing.
Yeah.
True, which is even crazier because that's the thing. You would think that it was because of sports, but no, and as as you stated, Chris, because I said this in like the group chat, this went up against Vegas versus Florida last year in a sense where Vegas went ahead and won the Stanley Cup, but they were still able to do these numbers. So whether this drop was due to the fact that people just wanted to go tune in to the Stanley Cup presentation, that could be the case. But still, they were really hot off of numbers starting at 8 p.m. So whatever is going on, it needs to be resolved. Because ain't no way you're telling me within a year span, it drops within 400,000 viewers, and you're telling me it's because of Juneteenth when literally the number has been standard at like 700K for the last, couple of months or so,
Yes.
Phenomenal one. I'm getting breaking news. Apparently, Tony Khan has gone on Twitter and officially blamed the Dynamite ratings to slavery.
Oh, oh man. And I guess the way that these ratings are going is let my people go.
I think most of the AEW people under contract feel like they're enslaved.
It's crazy how in the span of a year, AEW has still not been able to grow their product. The one thing that I've been staunchly saying over these last few months is that as long as AEW doesn't lose any of their viewers, they can work on gaining ground by expanding their audience. Usually they would get between 780 to maybe 830, 840,000 on average. And this is without sports or anything else around. That's what they normally would get. On the high side, they get maybe 900 and some change, but on the low side, it's about 580, somewhere in that neighborhood, if that's the case. This is nothing like that. And if we get next week their ratings as the go-home show to their pay-per-view, Forbidden Door, and those ratings are still in the toilet like this, let's say they get 600,000 next week. That's still a disappointment, because they should be much higher than this going into the go-home show, the go-home Dynamite, because obviously they're going to have SmackDown and they'll probably do a Collision. But the go-home Dynamite that's supposed to define why I should pay X amount of money to go see Forbidden Door, if those ratings are not in the 700s by next week, there's something terribly wrong here right now.
No, it's not. We talked about this. We talked about why it's not working. And again, I think this number is an anomaly based on the fact that this, whatever you want to look, I thought the number was fake. I'm sure you two did as well. Like, this is fake. It can't be real. You know what? It's fake news. It didn't happen. Okay.
It didn't happen. It's a huge loss, but it's not real.
So, but the point is, I don't think we're going to get this number again. I think they're going to bump up again. And Tony Khan was probably on a Coke binge right now of like Tony Montana Coke binge.
Oh, man.
I don't know what I mean. Listen, everyone is online calling for him to just give up the book. I don't know why he won't do it. It's just pride. He's willing to stay upon and be on the sinking ship, if you will, unless look, he's got to take a break. He needs a break. That's all. You don't have to ever book. Doesn't mean you can't book again. Just take a break. It's not working. None of this is working. And to your point, and what we said last week was this whole Forbidden Door. Aside from the sickos, right? The sickos.
Yeah, we only books for. Jesus.
Listen, the sickos, who cares? And also, based on the ratings, What core percentage of the sickos or even Kendrick Lamar fans or sports fans?
What I'm trying to say.
You know what I mean? These basement.
No. But here's the thing, Chris. Here's the thing. I was one of those people who still ended up watching Dynamite.
Right.
But this wasn't being streamed on television. This wasn't being done on cable.
No.
This was being streamed on Prime and Twitch. So you know what I was doing? I was watching Dynamite, and I was also watching the concert on my computer.
It's not hard to do, right?
It's not hard to do, so you can double take. So I don't get what people are saying. Oh, well, this all has to do with Kendrick Lamar. Then you have, it's funny, Taekwondo has a good one. He's like, TK probably said, them Negroes being freed are tanking my show. I mean, good grief. What can it possibly be at this point? So it's just like, look, I was one of those people who watch wrestling and I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan, but I still made it work. So what's the excuse again?
Wait, was it like a big pre-show Kendrick Lamar? Did they have like a talking head segment? I mean, why?
So I guess just because they had other sets before that and other, artists within the show before he even got on stage, that's what they're trying to allude to. But in all honesty, this real show didn't start until what?
9:30.
8. I would say 8:30 at most. 8:30. But as you can see, around 8:30, you see what the number is?
Yeah. There's not much you can say. Listen, it'll bounce back. It will unequivocally bounce back, but to what? We'll see. And then post. Now, Tony, listen, if these numbers continue to look like this, again, he's going to justify it by saying what the house is going to look like on the pay-per-view. They're what are they, 9,000, if not close to 10? So they're going to do a good house. But if the ratings continue to decline for the build to this show, how much longer do you do it is the question.
I mean, they're still going to be holding Wembley over our heads, so I mean.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I mean
that's a given, and I think if you're going at it, if you're looking at it from the standpoint of glass half full or half empty, the half empty aspect of it is, well, you know what? We have all of these wrestlers on the roster that we're going to do things with on our show. We got a lot of injuries at the top of the card. So this is one of the things that has kind of hurt AEW in the long run. But that being said, they do have a lot of other talent on that roster. But for whatever reason, those are not getting, the push that they should be getting. And there seems to not be as organic a connection with the ones that they want to push there. Orange Cassidy, as has been shown on their ratings, once Orange Cassidy shows up on TV, people change the channel. Yeah. When Chris Jericho comes up with any incarnation of whatever he's doing, they change the channel. So we know,
the elite.
Yes, the elite.
Yes.
They get on television. People are changing the channel. And the problem is the way it's booked, the order of how they book, and let's really be honest, they're doing a disservice to Swerve. I said this from day one after he won the belt. They should be showing vignettes of his importance, how important it is of him being the first African American to win the AEW World Title, showcase what he's done, what he's meant, what he sacrificed, those kinds of things. And instead of showing him as the mid-carder that just happens to be the world champion, why don't you actually put him in the main event stuff at the top of the show? If they're not going to showcase him as the main event, at the top of the second hour, minimum. They brought him in after the first segment that they did on AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. Why? That segment should have ended the show. You need to give people a reason why that match is going to be what is going to make you pay for the pay-per-view. And they didn't do that. Although the segment was really good, they should have ended the show with that segment.
You're talking about the match he had with Fletcher?
No. The promo that Swerve did with Will Ospreay.
This past Wednesday. I'm sorry.
This past Wednesday. That should have ended the show and then built into, oh, wow, don't make it personal, bro. Oh, it's already personal. They're talking about each other's families and talking about his kid and talking about his wife. And here we go. And then you get them in the ring, you put people in between them, and then you close the segment, and that's the end of the show. That's what they should have done. They didn't do that.
I love Swerve, but I have a problem with his promo right now. I think it's like Damian Priest-esque. It's too laid back. I think there needs to be a little bit of fire. Like I said on my Morton Law podcast YouTube hit this past week, I feel like Priest lacks a little bit of oomph, and I don't need you to yell at me the whole time also, as MJF will do occasionally, but I think you need to show a little bit of fire, and Swerve doesn't show much fire, and you need that from a baby face sometimes.
So in other words, you think he's just a bit too chill.
Way too chill. Like, give me something.
But there are moments when Swerve, when he does cut promos and he literally looks like he's about to shake somebody. Those are the kinds of moments you need to showcase him with to give that elevation of importance and priority to the feuds that he's getting into.
Oh, definitely. Oh, geez, we have something here. Corey Richmond says, do you believe in Joe Hendry? Then the Phenom says, forget Joe Hendry with his cameo on NXT. Dom Mysterio is the greatest North American champion.
Wait, no, I gotta take the first one. Yeah, I mean, how do we not? By the way, cue the music. Can you cue his music?
You know what? Now I gotta really go ahead and find the music. Jeez, man.
Because, let's be honest. For those under a rock, Joe Hendry with this whole talent not exchange, because no one's going from WWE to TNA, but for those coming to WWE or NXT in this case, Joe Hendry was on NXT. And Joe Hendry single-handedly beat Dynamite. So, do we believe? Yes. How do we not believe?
Oh man, did you really have to really, Chris? Really? I mean, not single-handedly. I mean, 700K is pretty big. I mean
yes.
But yeah, I mean, that's Joe Hendry for you. So now, do you guys think that Joe Hendry is actually gonna go ahead and go to the WWE once his deal with TNA's up? But the way that he's over now, they're like, what's we doing?
Yeah, and he's not. I didn't know how big of a guy he is. He's 6'2". 250. He would stand in the ring next to Braun Breaker and not give up any size whatsoever.
Yes.
And he's another Scottish brute. So look at that. So I mean, that kind of goes ahead and helps the situation. But I mean, do you guys think they did him a disservice by
they did a disservice with him the way he got taken out of the Battle Royal so quickly. But I don't think that's the last you're going to see of him on a WWE TV this year, or maybe even this month.
I can definitely possibly.
You can't get the music. Where's the music?
Chris, you couldn't wait.
What do you got? Nature's computer over there? Come on, this bedrock. I would expect his thing not to work so fast.
There you go.
There it is.
You got to give him a smile.
Good grief.
Oh man.
This is what we mean by laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. Oh, good Lord. I digress.
There we go.
I needed to at least say it today, man.
I know we're up against time here, but if I can be serious for a moment, again, nobody saw it, unfortunately, but people talk about Roosh and how hard-hitting he's been and how he's taken liberties on certain individuals and basically kicked the crap out of Jack Perry, which everyone had fun watching. Let's be fair here. While he had more respect for MJF and MJF took the beating well, he also Roosh kicked the crap out of him, okay? He was a bloody mess. He beat him up bad, but MJF stayed in there, and I think he earned more respect from Roosh at the end because he kind of patted him on the head after he beat him. But, oh, my God. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Would you want to mess with Roosh? No. Kick the crap out of most people.
Yeah, that was a stiff match. That was a really, really brutal match for both guys.
Yeah, but now that we know that he has MJF has to go up against Hechicero from CMLL. That's something. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because that challenge still has to be accepted.
Who?
I mean, Hechicero. Right. Did I get it right?
Yeah, there you go.
No, what I'm saying is, again, I'm a casual fan. I don't watch CML. Who?
Yeah.
That's why the ratings are,
That's the main problem.
Be careful. We might have an AEW person watching who's going to be like, oh my gosh, you're really such not a real wrestling fan if you don't know who that is. Don't do it.
Or Stephanie, who's the challenger of Mercedes? Stephanie Back. What's her name?
Vacker, I think it was her name.
Yeah. Listen, I want to apologize to the basement dwelling virgin sicko nerds, okay? that think we should know everything about everything. I'm sorry, we just don't. All right. So
I thought he was gonna say much more worse than that.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it somewhat PG.
Somewhat. We respect it.
It's PG and then it's somewhat PG. There you go.
Exactly. We can't get mad at it. But hey, yeah, but as you said, he called you a virgin sicko, so you can't come back from that. You know that, right? Damn, y'all suck. Really.
Wait, did you guys think, by the way, I saw it, what was your overall take on the Swerve Ospreay confrontation? Because a lot of people felt it was boring for a while and then it got good at the end.
I kind of felt the same way. It was.
I actually did like it. It didn't pick up steam, like you said, toward the end when they really started to get personal and they got in each other's faces. It's like, okay, here we go. Because it was kind of like they were going through the motions. We're friends, but now, there's things that, and then once it crossed that line, that's when it got interesting for a lot of folks. So I thought it was well done.
And the last thing on Dynamite was, and I'm happy it happened because we talk about their matches just going on forever and ever and ever and ever. The Bucks against the Acclaimed. I was worried that they were going to beat them again because they just kept having them kick out of everything, but I thought it was going to be your typical Tony Khan. We're still going to beat them. We're just going to go another 20 minutes. But no, they finally allowed the Acclaim to win. I don't know what this will mean for the next match, which will be for the title. By the way, I can't stand this title eliminator crap. Stop doing the match. If you have wins and losses and it matters, have a ranking system, and then the number one ranked team gets a title shot. We don't need to have an eliminator match.
Chris. Well, did you bring up ranking system?
Right.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and have to start using the gong more often, like we said I'd do in the past couple of weeks ago. Guess what? They do have a ranking system. They just don't know how to use it.
Who's the number one ranked team then?
You won't figure that out. You know why? They don't post it.
It's insane. We came up with a solution for this a long time ago, and Tony Khan needs to take notes.
I mean, listen, in the past,
take notes. Pass the book. Just pass the book.
In the past, if an opponent or anybody got a non-title match, right? It was a surprise and it was an upset brewing. Like you get almost, not all the time, but if it did happen, it was organic. Where the upset occurred, and then that person would get a title shot in the future.
Yes.
I don't need to know it's a title eliminator. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's the main event is your champion versus his challenger in a non-title match, and he beats that person unless it's in a feud to establish that we want to get a title shot at a pay-per-view. That's one thing. It's another thing to do it completely just to say, well, this is an eliminator. The champ is going against so-and-so in a non-title match, and it doesn't make any sense. Now, it's assumed if you beat the champ in a non-title match that you're going to get a title shot at some point. But they make that point out there, and it kind of throws everything off.
Yeah, but let's be fair, though. WWE is doing it now, too, and I hate it. I hate that Triple H has too much Tony Khan in him lately. I don't like it. It's bothering me, some of the booking.
I mean, it is what it is, but I mean, wrestling's still at an all-time high, so that's kind of like, you can't really get mad at it. I mean,
we're always going to be able to nitpick. That's why we do this show. We can.
Of course. Listen, this is what pays our bills, ladies and gentlemen. We don't really,
and that's where you have to believe in Joe Hendry.
Oh, by the way, how much have they not neutered, it's not even the wrong word, Okada? They just ruined him, okay? He's backstage now at the production thing, right? And the Acclaim come out, and then Okada cuts their mic so you can't hear the rap, and then he says, okay.
Hold on, I got you.
You got me? All right. Yeah, Okada. He's doing the Okada. Right.
I pushed the wrong button. I'm so sorry.
And then what did he say after that? Yeah.
I can't do it. It's PG, man.
Oh, you can say the B word. What do you think? We have 5-year-olds watching? Wait, I work with children. I got 7-year-olds saying the F word. Okay, I mean,
yeah, you got a point. It is a fact. You know what? It is fact. Yeah, okay. I'm so sorry, bitch. Yeah, I mean, only Okada, right? I think that's the only entertainment factor within the Elite currently that I'm so enjoying.
They have literally turned him into Ron Simmons. It's amazing.
I understood that you were enjoying it. I think it's stupid. think it's horrible.
I mean, honestly, it's not what I would expect from Kaz Okada. But I mean, hey, anything to get a kick out of it. I mean, I'm getting a kick out of it. So I mean, that should at least help it, you know?
But that shouldn't be the only thing he's known for. And I think that's the danger that they fall into.
Yeah.
Hey, Nate, anything for the sickos.
Oh God, Taekwon, Mr. 401 looks like Gary Owen without the black woman.
Wow.
Do I need to? Who's Gary Owen? Should I know that?
Yo, no way, guys. On that note, this marks the end of Saturday.
I gotta Google Gary Owen.
You gotta Google Gary Owen.
Yeah.
Now, man. Good grief.
Yeah, I think he's a stand-up comedian. I think that.
He was on like Think Like a Man. I mean.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He's been in a lot of good movies. I think like a good number of them, like Ride Along.
Okay, I see. First of all, I'm significantly better looking than this guy. It's not even close.
We're really doing this now.
Oh man.
Oh man. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we're just marking the end. We'll see you guys next week for episode 19. It's here that on Saturday afternoon's main event that I had a phenomenal one.
All right, the peeps, Nate.
Oh, Mr. 4-1. Are we going back to your? Let's go back to your ending instead of the usual.
Yeah, I got you. No more.
Okay.
Well, we came,
we saw, and in the words of the great Paul Heyman,
we conquered.
We conquered.
Okay.
There you go.
That's the way Chris said that. That's sure.
We conquered. So what?
We
We conquered. We always conquer. So what?
Yeah.
So much conquering.
Exactly. But look, see you next week for episode 19. Phenomenal one, Mr. 411, Peep Snake.
I'm the eater of all vaginas.
Oh God. Farewell, everybody.
Peace, love, and farewell. Good luck. Good night.